This is a story about how I woke up this morning and decided I'd go for a walk, see where my comfort levels were. Paparoa Track is one of New Zealand's great walks. It's one of our newest. It's a shared use track. It's for both walkers and bikers. 2,500 people a year will use it, and 1 in 10 of those will be from overseas. Paparoa Track's located on New Zealand's west coast. You can get there by driving down State Highway 6, Great Road, flying into the Hokitika Airport, or heading over the Southern Alps, for example, on the Transalpine Express. 24 hours earlier, and it was just a pleasant day on the Transalpine Express heading to Greymouth. We arrive at our off-grid pre-tramp accommodation. Our hosts run this motley flock of sheep on their off-grid property, as well as other animals and veggie gardens. 100 years ago, European and Chinese gold diggers were literally carving a living out of the bedrock of this place.
How rough it is.
Yeah, that's where they all hang, that's their den. That's where they like to be.
What are these holes up there?
I think they put in floors as they work their way up. Stand off.
Our hosts take us for a tour on their property of some of the water races these hardy workers had dug.
Has it been buried a little bit? Yeah, well that's the thing. That's why we take people on the guided walk, because there's lots of these little, got a few sticks over and not much else.
Now you're a true explorer when you come out wet and dirty.
Yeah.
No problem.
After a hot shower, we get a fire going. I'm excited for the tramp ahead. For the last week, I've been keeping an eye on the weather forecast. It's showing a cyclone hitting the region with heavy rain and gale force winds. My excitement is tempered with something approaching dread. It's a through trail, so we organised with a local shuttle company to drop us off at the start of the track and also relocate our car to the end.
Open your eyes at 6:15 in the morning. Do you A, stay in your cozy bed, or B, go biking?
It's getting worse, not better. It's bucketing down this morning. Good west coast rain. Lots and lots of rivers on the road.
Compared to the nearby Heaphy track, logistics getting to and from the track are a lot easier to organise because of the proximity of Greymouth. The track is a historic bridle path dating back to the old gold mining days. It follows a river up a valley to a snow tussock covered alpine ridge, and then along an escarpment with podocarp forest below. From the ridge, you descend until you meet the Pairari River, which you then follow out to the coast. The track finishes with busloads of tourists and cafes, with everybody there to see the famous Punakaiki rocks. We're about to start the walk. Weather looks exactly as we need it to be. We start the track at the Smoko car park in light rain. A waharoa built by the team of Ngātai Waiwai carvers guides us onto the track. We're all smiles over the first few swing bridges. The heavy rain is flooding over the track. I've got waterproof boots, but when you're walking knee-deep through flooded creeks, dry feet aren't an option. It's actually a relief to have wet boots already. I don't have to pick around mud and puddles. I find my spot on the tramp at the rear of the hiking fellowship. It gives me a good spot to assess the best way to cross a creek. Do I nearly chuck my pack into a creek, or practice my gymnastics on the balance beam? After all the trepidation about hiking during a storm, it's bordering on enjoyable walking with fresh legs in this weather. Quite wet, but we've got a fair bit of wool on, so not feeling cold at all. It's pretty comfortable. The fellowship stops at the Cess Clark hut to take a break from the storm. We fill up with snacks and a hot drink. We've just stopped for 30 minutes for lunch and it's gotten a bit cold. We've waited for the big wind to subside. The next section's pretty exposed. They reckon not to do it when there's high winds. The winds have dropped off, so we're going to have a crack at it now. It's pretty cold. A few of us are shivering. I'm going to make it to the next hut, and then we're going to get dry and warm with a fire. This section of the track is above the tree line. There's very little protection from the buffeting wind besides our shell jackets. We didn't really feel that we could be daunted by too much weather. So this is a story about getting out of your comfort zone, getting out of the elements, and having a great time apparently. Now we're moving again, and with our wool layers we're starting to warm back up. There are no long views out over the ranges and out to sea here, so I focus on what's in front of me. Mountain foxglove, tussocks, and a thing called tutahuna, which is a member of the daisy family on one side and a woolly sheep on the other. I see the signs of why this area has such a mining history. Exposed veins of gold-rich quartz, thick seams of coal, and somewhere out there are even rich uranium deposits. We finally reach Moonlight Top's hut, where we'll spend our first night on the track. Inside, a hot coal fire is roaring. I get out of my wet gear and join our hut companions in trying to dry out and recharge from a draining day on the track. People typically walk the track in 3 nights. Because it's a great walk, you've got to book the huts well in advance. There are bunks and gases supplied when in season, so it's just BYO food and sleeping bags. There's fresh water at most dock huts, and it's typically okay to drink, although there will be signs that tell you that you need to boil it. A new day dawns and we're back on the track with fresh legs. The storm is moving on. Now it's just fat drops of rain falling through lichen-covered old-growth canopy trees. In 2010, an explosion ripped through a coal mine beneath us on this track. 29 men working in the mine were killed. The mine was a big employer in the region and it never reopened. The sidetrack was built as a memorial to these West Coasters. Building these tracks created jobs for the locals and attracts tourists like us into this remote region. I passed by Mountain Nene, looking like something plucked out of a Dr. Seuss book. The track takes us along a rocky escarpment. It's a vertical drop to our left, and we're above waterfalls and the podocarps. We pause for a short break in an emergency shelter. I see some of the equipment that is used to maintain the track. We start our descent off the escarpment. Is the rain stopping? Is there a hint of the clouds parting? The track itself is fantastic condition. It's pretty horizontal. There's a few sections that slope up and slope down. It's really fast going. We've got a very young, fit pace setter, and following up the rear is a good posse to be. We arrive at Pororari Hut, where we will be spending our second night. We have peeps of views along tomorrow's track out to sea, and when I look back the way we came, I can just make out last night's Moonlight Top's hut. Day 3 starts after a great night's sleep on fresh legs and fueled by a full belly of rolled oats and a cup of hot water mixed with sugary instant coffee granules. I pass patches of onga onga. Apparently its toxins can cause hives, blurred vision, confusion, and a couple of cases death. I keep my distance. We drop down to the Pororari River, which we will be following to the coast. The water looks inviting, and I start keeping an eye out for a good swimming spot. We pass through patches of regenerative forest where the cyclone has flattened the area. We emerge into a forest dotted with glades of striking Nico. The unique West Coast rainforest microclimate here creates an isolated home for these palm trees, far from their typical ranges in the warmer far north. The Paparoa track can also be used by cyclists. We're on our third day of tramping and we've yet to see a single step. Instead, we've just had gentle slopes on wide tracks the whole way. Right at the end of the tramp, we walkers are given a dedicated bit of track, which gives us the chance to explore some cycle-unfriendly limestone formations. It's the final day of the track. We're walking beside a river rather than through one. You tend to get hypnotised by it, looking at the ground. The miles roll by in quiet conversation with your hiking companions. I reached the end of the track without me having spotted that perfect swimming hole. One of New Zealand's greatest walks appropriately ends at one of our most spectacular coastal drives. I find my swimming hole and rinse off the day's dust and sweat. My companions join me. No one wants to be the smelly one out on the drive back.
So cold.
We pop on a clean set of clothes, then take a stroll around the Punakaiki coastal walkway and its remarkable pancake rocks, blowholes and thick harakeke. I've discovered that comfort isn't actually necessary for my life to be enjoyable, and in fact, it may be a barrier to it. Every now and then I need to shake up my comfortable routines and have a bit of an adventure, especially if I can share that adventure with important people in my life. I'm left excited for new challenges, and I'm reminded to not feel afraid to face them, because when you come through adversity, you often come out the other side as a better person.